Hey, thanks for tuning in. I taught this class about a week ago for perennial yoga, but the sound in that recording wasn't so great. So I decided to teach this class again, offer it up again. So if you're coming at it the second time, welcome back. If you're coming at it for the first time, welcome, welcome. No matter what, thanks for tuning in. Namaste. Welcome. My name's Keith. I want to begin by talking about a couple of terms, and the first is hatha or hatha, this Sanskrit word that we have heard probably many times in conjunction with the entirety of the yoga practice, hatha yoga. And when I first learned this term, it was taught to me as sun and moon, and it's still often translated that way as sun, moon. But there is a bit more power to this word. It translates most clearly as destructive change. And it's the kind of destructive change that really leads to actual transformation. And that's important because the change that we seek isn't a change that's easy to achieve. To really move into a place of transformation, something has to be replaced. Something has to be completely torn down. Something has to be completely broken to the point where it can be transformed into something or be renewed into its original state. Hatha is this destructive change. And along with that, the term tapas, which translates to heat or fire or comfortable with pain, really goes hand in hand with that idea of destructive change. That we have to be able to put ourselves into the fire and hold ourselves accountable and take ourselves to task in order to achieve this change that we seek. So if we're not really willing to break it all down, if we're not willing to really apply the fire, then the change or the transformation can't happen. So then what gets in the way of that? What stops us from doing that? And a lot of times that's simply fear. The fear that it won't work. The fear that this reality is the only reality. The fear that if we actually transform, what's left? And the list of things that might be equated with fear is endless. So hold up your dominant hand and you can rest your opposite hand on your knee. And this mudra is called Abhaya mudra, or the mudra of dispelling fear. And if you're comfortable, you can close your eyes and sit quietly for a moment and just continue to listen. This destructive change and this practice of fire or this practice of heat is best exemplified by the image of the Ouroboros. And the Ouroboros is the snake that eats its own tail, sometimes called the tail eater. And it's in this consumption of self, in this eating of the entirety of everything that we know about ourselves, that we begin to move toward real change. And when we move toward that real change, that's when we have to dispel the fear. Because if we don't dispel the fear, then we're just going to fall back into the old ways. And it's easy to do that. It's easy to let fear take over. It's easy to stop the action, to move away from the destruction, to say the heat is too much, and to say, let me just go back to the way it was, let me forget, let me go back to sleep. But that's not what we're here to do in this practice, and not even in this life. We're here to move forward, we're here to break down the barriers, we're here to achieve a real sense of relationship with truth, that is the self. So we can't go back. We can't go to sleep. Once the process begins, once the breaking down has started, the only way to go is forward. So dispel the fear to go there so that we can continue to break it down, so that we can continue to turn up the heat, so that we can continue to change internally and externally. Take a listen to these words. The breeze at dawn has secrets to tell you. Don't go back to sleep. You must ask for what you really want. Don't go back to sleep. People are going back and forth across the door sill where the two worlds touch. The door is round and open. Don't go back to sleep. And these are words of the poet Rumi. So ask yourself, implore yourself not to go back to sleep. You can maintain the mudra while you take a listen. Breathe in. You can keep the mudra or drop your hands onto your knees. Asatoma satkamaya tamasoma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amritam gamaya asatoma satgamaya 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 tamasoma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amritam gamaya. Lead us from all that seems real to that which actually is real. Lead us away from darkness and into light. Lead us from the false understanding, from the fear of death, to the reality and the truth of immortality. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. If you have the mudra, feel free to release your hands now and begin to transition and move yourself onto all fours first. You can give each leg a stretch. Let some blood flow back to your feet and to your ankles. And then come to sit on your heels and let your knees open up about to the width of your mat. And when you do that, let your hands begin to sink into your thighs, sink onto your knees, and really let your sitting bones get heavy. Exhale everything away. And then when you breathe in, move your arms back in space and you can clasp your right wrist, open up through your chest. And then when you exhale, hands to your knees, a little roundness to your spine. When you breathe in, do that again, but grab hold of your left wrist and open up some space in your chest. And then exhale, hands to your knees and round through your spine. Do that again as you breathe in. Take hold of your right wrist and hook your right fingers over to your left thigh so you can twist. Come back through the middle as you breathe in. And then exhale your hands to your knees with some roundness. Take it again, take hold of your left wrist. Hook around, take hold, and take the twist. Come back through center with the breath in. Hands to your knees and exhale some roundness. Breathe in, take hold of your right wrist. Twist over to the right side. Your left hand goes to your thigh. You can look over your shoulder. And then breathe in to come back. Exhale to reset. Breathe in with your left wrist coming around to your right thigh. Take the twist. Come back through center and exhale. One last time. Take hold of your right wrist. Already begin the twist so that when you exhale, you really land in it. Inhale back to center. Hands to your knees. Take hold of your left wrist, some space in your chest. Open up, wrap around, and then go into the twist. Inhale back to center, and then hand to your knees, round. And then from there, move your feet over to the side and start to make your way down onto your back. And when you get there, lay everything out long. So you can clasp your hands in front of your chest and let your thumbs come right up into your breastbone. When you breathe in, bring your hands right up to the level of your forehead, maybe the crown of your head. And then when you exhale, bring that back into your heart. Do that again as you bring your hands right up toward the top of your head. And then back into your heart. When you move your hands, add your right knee and breathe in. Exhale back to your starting place. Add your left knee and breathe in. And then back to your starting place. Inhale your hands and your right knee. Keep your knee here. Lift your shoulders off the mat and take your hands over to your left thigh. Come back down with a breath in. And then release. Hands and your left knee. And then come on up over to your right thigh. Hands to your heart. And then release your leg. Breathe in, your right knee comes up. Keep it there, lift up over to your left thigh. And then with your breath in, extend your right leg. Bring it all down. And try the other side. Breathe in. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Again, breathing in with your knee. Exhale up. Hunker in. Inhale your leg long. And then exhale back to your starting position. One last time on the other side. Inhale. And exhale up. Inhale your leg long. And then exhale back to your starting place. Draw your legs in, hold on to your legs, rock and roll. And then transition onto all fours. Curl under your toes, press your hips up, make a downward dog, and shift from side to side. Pause to find some length in your waist, armpits, from your hips down to your heels. And then walk forward. Fold into yourself. And ease yourself up. Pause here. Land in both feet and stack up right over your ankles, through your legs, into your hips, up to your shoulders. And then when you breathe in, clasp your hands the way you did before and draw your right knee the way you did when you were on your back. Use the exhale to slide back into a lunge. With your breath in, arms up, get long through your front leg. When you're exhaling, hands to the ground so you can step back for downward facing dog. Stretch out long for plank pose. Stay strong in your legs. Bend your elbows, lower down, all the way. Point your toes and lift up a little cobra. Travel back over your toes for downward dog. Inhale your right foot to the front, right between your hands. And then exhale your 2 feet together. Fold over your legs. All the way out, breathe in. Pause your hands and release your arms. Other side, clasp your hands and your left knee comes up. Slide back into a lunge. Turn it into a high lunge. Lengthen through your leg. And then bend and sink. Step back to the back of your mat, downward dog. Stretch out long for plank. Lift your navel as you lower all the way down. Peel up a little cobra. And then back over your toes, downward dog. Move your left foot forward, breathing in. Step your 2 feet together and fold into yourself. All the way up to stand. Hands at your heart. Release. With your right knee clasp, breathe in. Lunge to the back. High lunge with a long front leg. And then empty it down. Step into plank pose as you breathe in. Bend your elbows lower part of the way. Flip your toes and open your chest. And keep a cobra or add up dog. Downward dog. Move your right foot forward. Keep going as your arms come up alongside your head. Step your feet together and clasp your hands. Bow into yourself. All the way up to stand. Pause a prayer. Release your arms. With your left knee, breathe in. Exhale to the back of your mat. Get long as you reach up. And then empty it down. Breathe into plank. Lower all the way or part of the way. Keep your chest open as you flip your toes. Back over your toes, down dog. Inhale your left foot to the space between your hands, right up into a high lunge. And then step together, fold, interlace your hands. All the way up. Stand tall, high prayer. Release through a prayer. Arms down. One last time with your right knee up. To the back. Stretch long. Empty down. Step in lower as you're exhaling here. Keep it going. Over your toes, upward facing. And downward facing. You can step to the front or soften your knees.
and hop there. Onto your fingertips and then fold. Bend your knees, reach up with your arms, Utkatasana. Release down by your sides, Tadasana. With your clasp, your left knee comes up. Slide back. Reach up and get long. And then release right into stepping back and lowering. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Over your toes. Back to down dog. You can see where your hands are and step or jump there. Onto your fingertips. Fold over deep. Bend your knees to reach up, Utkatasana. And then release. Spend a moment and sink in. One last breath. Utkatasana as you bend your knees and reach up. Fold over and touch down. Soften and step or jump backward. Chaturanga Dandasana. Over your toes, upward facing. Downward facing. Inhale your right foot to the front of your mat. Turn down your back heel and cartwheel up into Warrior Two. Right from there, let your left arm fall behind, and you can use your right hand to guide your hand around. So you grab the inside of your thigh, reopen your right arm, and then tip back for a half-bound peaceful warrior. Release both hands as you cartwheel down. Step back for plank. Bend your elbows. Flip your toes. Meet together back at down dog. Inhale your left foot to the front. Spin down your back heel so you can cartwheel up into Warrior Two. Drop your right arm. You can catch your right wrist with your left hand. Come around, take hold, and then reopen the length. Tip your way back, peaceful warrior. Release both hands, cartwheel down. Breathe into plank. Bend your elbows. Lead with your chest so your shoulders stay down. Back to down dog. Move your right foot forward, drop your back heel, and cartwheel up for Warrior Two. Make your right leg long as you drop your arms, move your right wrist around, and then sink again. But then lengthen through your right leg, extend out through your reach, draw up through your right thigh so that your right hamstrings can get long. Turn open, and then firm into your back leg. Breathe all the way in, all the way out. And then bend through your right knee, rise and tip. Release both hands, down to the ground. Breathe into plank. Bend your elbows. Open up. And back you go. Inhale your left foot forward. Anchor your back heel. Cartwheel up for Warrior Two. Stretch your front leg. Guide your right hand around. Sink in. Reach out. And then keep reaching, but draw in so that you draw the whole musculature of your left thigh up your leg, turning it into a half-bound triangle. Breathe in. Press through the back edge of your back foot. Bend your left knee so that you can inhale and tip up. And then release down. Bend your elbows as you breathe out. Keep them close to your body. Back over your toes. Down dog. One more time, move your right foot forward. Anchor your heel. Cartwheel up. Get long reach around, take the grip. Reach forward, but then go out to the right some, shift your weight, half bound Ardha Chandrasana. Breathe through your lifted toes. You can always keep your gaze down if that's better. Do begin to look down at the ground by your right toes, and then your left foot's going to step down alongside it. Right from there, use your right peace fingers. Come on up to stand. You can stay right here, or begin to extend your right leg. Not important to make it 100% long. If you like, gaze over your left shoulder. And then soften. Guide your foot down to the ground. Tense your right fingers. Step your left leg back. Turn down your heel. You can loosen your left fingers so then both hands can go around your right hip. And then re-articulate the length of your spine. And if the Ouroboros is the icon of this snake eating its tail and exemplifying the idea of tapas, of hatha, of destructive change, then the physical idea comes into the bind in the body. Place both hands down. Bend your elbows, lower into chaturanga. Upward facing. And downward facing. Move your left foot up. Drop your back heel. Cartwheel up for warrior two. Lengthen. Take your right arm around. Take hold of your hip. Bend your knee as you sink. Reach out. And then lean forward so your fingertips can go left and in front of your toe line. Lift up, lengthen, and then turn open. Breathing all the way in and all the way out. Look down for balance. Step your right foot down. Shift the weight there. Peace grip around your left big toe. Ease yourself up to stand. And then extend your leg. You can use your right hand to press down on your left thigh so you keep your left hip crease deep. And you can look over your right shoulder away from your toes. Breathing all the way in. And then soften as you come back to the middle. Place your foot down. Tense your left fingers. Move your right leg back. Go inside. Free your right hand. You can always keep the half bind or take the full reach around. And turn open your chest. Binding your side angle. Finding your own tail. Closing your circuit. And then release your hands so you can step back and lower down. Flip your toes. And back to down dog. See where your hands are and step or jump up. Come to your fingertips and then fold. Come on up to stand, high prayer. And release. Stay at the front of your mat and take your feet a little bit wider apart. Leave yourself some room. Hinge and fold over. And then take your right hand inside, so it's between your 2 feet. Bend your right knee so you can snake your arm back and through. Right from there, reach up with your left arm. And here's where your 2 hands might connect again. Pause here. Start to put more weight into your left foot so you can bend your knees some. And then keep the grip as you start to come up. And right from there, think about dropping your tail under your body, moving it toward your nose or towards your mouth a little bit. So you come tall first. And then when you want to get longer through your leg, bend your standing leg, add some crease to your hip. Turn on your quadriceps so that your right leg can get longer. And then once it's long, kick your tail under a little bit again for bird of paradise. And then you can look over your shoulder. Svarga Dvijasana. Twice born. Dvija. And then soften. Drop into your right foot there. Put the weight into it. Make your leg long on the right side. And then slowly move your left toes back in space so that your leg starts to float. And then soften through both knees and step your feet down. Hinge and empty out. And then try it on the other side now. So you move your left arm in between. Bend through your left knee. Reach up with your right arm. And you can wrap around. And your two hands can meet. Head to tail. Happily stay here or begin to put the weight over into your right foot. Peel up your left heel. Slowly, as you lift your eyes and your chest, come on up to stand. So this is a place that you can stop, or if you're not bound, you could always grab your big toe. Move your tail under a little bit and ripple that energy up your spine. Bend your standing leg so you crease a little bit at your hip, make room for your quads to fire, and lengthen your left leg. And then press the ground again. And you can look away. And then soften and step down. Put the weight into your left foot. Shift it in there. Peel up your right heel so that as your right leg goes back in space, feels a bit like Ardha, but spread through your lifted toes. And then soften. And release. Give a little shake. Little flutter. And then you can make your way back into downward dog. Big exhale here. Breathing in and out. And then from there, move your right foot forward into a lunge. Drop your back knee, point your back toes. Take your right arm up and around in a circle. Gaze back toward your thumb and then complete the circle. Drop your fingers, curl your back toes, lengthen through both legs, ground, but open up your chest, and then fold over the top of your right leg. Taking Parsvottanasana. Keep strong through your back leg. Come up to your fingertips, bend your knee, step back for a plank, bend your elbows. Lead with your heart. And back to down dog. Move your left foot forward. Drop your right knee. Point your back toes. Circle, just like the snake, around until your hand falls. Tense your fingers, curl under your back toes. Get long. You can always shorten your stance a little bit if that feels better. Move your belly toward your thigh and then fold over. Think about deepening your left hip crease so your right hip can roll forward some. Soften. Breathe into plank. Bend your elbows all the way, part of the way. Up dog. And down dog. Add to that, inhale your right foot forward and drop your knee. Point your back toes. Start to take your right arm up and bend your left knee as you do. So when you look back, complete the circuit. And then sink your hips and open up your chest. When you release, both hands down by your front foot. Keep your face close to your leg. Shift your weight. Standing split. All the way in. And then breathe all the way out. Soften, reach way back. Inhale to plank. Keep your gaze going forward. Flip your toes. And then downward dog. Move your left foot to the front. Drop your knee. Point your back toes. Start the circle. Contract your leg. And then find your own tail. Sink in. When you release, both hands are close to your front foot. Keep your face close to your knee. As your left leg gets long, hinge deeply so it feels more like a forward bend and less like a leg lift. And then soften. Step on back. Even out through plank. Exhale down. Flip your toes. And meet back up. Downward dog. One last time, move your right foot forward. Drop your knee. Take your left hand, so your left fingers point to your right arch. Same circle, point your toes, contract and grab. And then once you've got your foot, bend your left elbow. Shift some weight into it and re-articulate your opening. Stay another moment there. And then release. Take your hand to your knee so you can come up. And your left elbow can start to cross over your body. And once you do that, and the twist gets deeper, you can take your right arm up and around. And then your two hands might meet up. To get there, you can close your spine down a little bit, but then re-lengthen. Happily stay here, or curl your back toes. Step in a little bit. Once you're in, press into your left foot. Shift the weight there a little bit so you feel what's happening in your left arm. And then shift into your right leg. And let your left leg lift. Get long through both legs. You can keep your gaze down on the floor. Release both hands. So you can step to the back, right into down dog. That'll be enough. And then one last time with your left foot, inhaling up. Move your right fingers over, point them toward your foot. Point your back toes. Circle your left arm up and around so you can take hold of your own foot. And then bend your elbow. Re-articulate so that your foot still feels like it's in line with your right hip. Breathing all the way in. And then when you release it, drop your left hand onto your left knee. Press the ground away. Cross your right elbow over to the outside. You can stay there or reach up with your left arm and walk around so that both hands can meet. Happily stay right here Or begin to lift your back knee. Step in some. Put some weight over to the right side so you can feel the tightening of the grip around your left leg with your bound arms. And then shift the weight into your left foot. Lengthen your left leg to lift your right toes. And then soften your grip. Release your hands. And to downward dog. And breathe all the way in. And release down. Drop your knees for a moment. Take a pause. From your seat, come onto all fours. And step your right foot to the outside of your right hand. You can hang out right here or put some bend into your elbows so you can feel your right shoulder tucking inside your right knee. And then from there, if you tucked, move your hands back in space. So your right elbow starts to create a little shelf underneath your right leg. And you can pause here. Or begin to curl into your back toes and make your left leg long. You can stay right here. But feel some weight of your body dropping into your right arm. There's nothing on my left elbow. You can stay here, or as you bend your elbows, shift your right leg so that the whole shape begins to float. Scale pose. Ekapada Kundinasana 2. Drop your back toes, drop your back knee, and then shift all fours. On the other side, move your left foot outside, so it's a wide step. You can stay here or sink into the bend of your elbows a little bit without totally collapsing your chest. Move your hands back if you like, so you can feel your left elbow underneath your left thigh. Curl under your back toes. And then it's 2 actions at once. So as you bend your elbows and you sink, your left leg gets longer. And then perhaps your back toes lift. And drop your back toes. Drop your knee. Undo. Have a seat on your heels. If you have a block or a piece of foam someplace close by, you might grab it for this, so that when you come down to sit, you just sit between your ankles now. So it might mean that something underneath your bum, just to support your sitting bones, will make the seat more comfortable, less annoying. But if it feels good to sit all the way down, you don't need to put anything there. You can smooth down the outer edges of your thighs. And of course, let sitting be enough if sitting is enough. Or if you'd like to recline back to your elbows. Your quads did the work of making your legs long for those birds of paradise. So add length to your thighs now. You can move your tail into your pubis and then let everything drop. And if you want to go all the way down to your shoulders, you can go down that way. If you went all the way down, feel free to clasp your elbows up above your head. Notice where you push or guard. Move away from the fire. Which doesn't mean you're adding anything extra. It just means that you are following through. Give yourself one more breath. And then let your arms come away if they moved up there. You can use your hands and elbows to make your way back up to sitting. Come onto all fours. And allow your legs to stretch out for a moment. Good. And then start with this all fours. And step your right foot again in between your two hands. So that as you sink in for Anjaneyasana, your front knee will go a little bit beyond your ankle. You can always go a little bit off center or moving out to the outer edge of your mat to sink that down. Happily stay here with Anjaneyasana. We're going to come to it, move out of it, and come back to it. So if you're feeling okay here, you can add the bend in your back knee and let your hand catch the big toe side of your foot. And your hips probably came up to do that, so then sink down again. And then you can do the same lift in your hips to fold your leg in closer so that your left fingers begin to turn up toward the ceiling. And then you can press your foot toward your left hip as you sink again. And your body's going to naturally open up a little bit to the side, and that's great for where we are. So your elbow on your right arm can sink into your leg. You can stay there, or take your right hand over to your left fingers, like a monkey grip, and kind of sink in. So another closing of a circuit. Happily stay like that, or let your right hand take over holding your left foot. And then your left arm can go free to wrap around your back. And then sink again and look over your left shoulder. Vamadevasana. It's a variation on the shape. And then slowly undo. Set your back toes down again. And then both hands can hang down. Roll open so that your palms turn outward and a little bit upward. And then as you sink in, stretch your fingertips down. So you begin to open up your chest. And then you might tip your gaze up and even back. Draw into yourself. Step back to all fours. And then the other side. Step your left foot up to the front. You can always pad your back knee, sink your hip. Remember, you can stay with Anjaneya. Allow yourself just to drop. Or your right hand can start to reach back. A little lift in your hips to grab hold of your foot and then sink again. You can stay right here. Or use that same lift to fold your foot in so your leg comes into a deep flexion. You can stay right there, or start to take your left hand over, monkey grip your two hands, sink again. You can stay right here, or now your left hand can take over, holding onto your right foot, so that your right arm can reach back, turn down your thumb as you go around. You can take hold of the inside of your thigh, and then as you sink, look back over your right shoulder. Variation on Vamadevasana. And then slowly release. Set down your toes. Sink in so your right hip can roll forward some. Both arms down, fingertips. Open your chest. And then you can add your gaze. Opening up your heart space. And then slowly release. Move to all fours. But then move your knees forward. Move your feet to the side. And then make your way down onto your back. When you get down there, feet to the floor, touch the back of your heels. Take an extra inhale. And then begin to plant your hands on the floor next to your head. Even here is a good place to stop. So you draw in with your elbows. Press into your feet. Remember how you kicked your tail into your pubis? You can take that initially. But then as you press into your hand, soften that. Breathe all the way in. Chin to your chest. Ease down. Roll your wrists one time. Pause. And then one more time. Hands down. Coming through a wheel. Hug your elbows in. You can take the whole shape right away so that you press down and ripple through. And then chin to your chest before you ease down. Windshield wiper your knees a little bit, side to side. Roll your wrists around. Good. And then stretch yourself out on the ground. And draw your right knee in. And then use your right peace fingers to grab hold of your right big toe. Lower your back into the ground, and you can lengthen through your right leg. Keep heavy through your left leg, and then exhale up to your right leg. Start to lower your head and let your right leg open to the right. You can drop into your right elbow there. Breathe all the way in and all the way out. And then take your right leg across. Move on to your hip. You can bend your right knee so that you come into the twist. Feel free to look at the ceiling, or your gaze can drop over to the right. And then come back through the middle. Stretch your right leg out long on the floor. And draw your left knee in. You can stay there or peace grip around your left big toe. Lay down your spine and lengthen your left leg. And stay here or use an exhale to come up closer to your left leg. And then as you start to come down, let your left leg open up wide. Breathe all the way out. And then as you trade your leg over to the other side, you can bend your left knee, roll onto your right hip, and take the twist. You can gaze up or gaze left. And then slowly come back into the middle. Bend through both knees. Rock and roll yourself up. Let both legs stretch out for a moment. But then bend your right knee. Take your right arm inside, around underneath, so you can take hold of your left wrist. So you can stop here and sit here, or let your left fingertips make contact. Start to rock back, left palm, then your left elbow. So you come down to the ground, and then you can begin to lengthen through your right leg. And then once you've done that, you can drop a little bit more of your left shoulder and add more length. Breathe all the way in and all the way out. And then soften, loosen your grip, tent your right fingers, come on up, and unravel. Other side, so that your left arm goes inside, underneath, around. You can find the full bind there and pause, or let your right fingers make contact, your right palm, your right elbow, and then your left leg can start to get longer there. And once your leg is long, you can drop a little bit more weight so that your right arm feels like it's fully on the ground. Taking this bound, reclined bird. Another expression of bird of paradise. And then slowly soften, undo, reach across, press the ground, come on up. And then join the soles of your feet together. You can use your fingers back behind you to tent on the ground. Open up through your chest. This is a great place to stop. Or walk your hands over to your feet and imagine that your head is the head of the snake. You can interlace your fingers underneath your toes. Bow out wide with your elbows, so that as you fold over and you bring your face toward your feet, it is like the snake finding its tail and beginning to eat. Resist pulling with your hands, but spread through your shoulder blades. And then slowly sit yourself up. And stretch your legs out long. You can always have a little bend under your knees. Connect your hands to your feet or to your legs or wherever they go without going into rounding your back to get there or feeling like you're straining to get there. Connect where you connect. Because that's the idea that has to be behind the destructive change, right? It's not destruction for the sake of pain. It's destruction that includes being comfortable with pain or being okay with discomfort, but you're not seeking to make yourself uncomfortable, right? There's a slight difference. And then fold over. Pouring into yourself, letting your breath move as much as it can move in this constricted space. And then slowly sit yourself up. Take your hands back, bend your knees, open up your chest. Get long for a moment, and then slowly set yourself down. And you can begin to recline back onto your back. And take rest, or if you prefer, this can be a time when you sit. But wherever you land, turn your attention inward to your inner change. Parvati Shankari Sharanam 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 Ma Kali Maheshwari 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 Parvati Shankari Sharanam 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 Ma Sharanam 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 Ma Sharanam 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 Ma. Sink in just a little bit deeper to the space that you're in. These are words from Georgia Douglas Johnson. Let me not lose my dream, even though I scan the veil with eyes unseeing through their glaze of tears. Let me not falter, though the rungs of fortune perish, as I fare above the tumult, praying purer air. Let me not lose the vision. Gird me, powers that toss the worlds, I pray. Hold me and guard, lest anguish tear my dreams away. Georgia Douglas Johnson. Begin to move around in your body a little bit. Stretch and wiggle and shift. Roll to your side. And use your hands to come on up to sit. Kali is the highest form of the Divine Mother. She is the destruction of negative energy and negative thought. And it's that destruction, that embodying of burning it all down, tearing it all down, beginning to consume the entirety of yourself and everything you thought you knew about yourself. And that leads to a new space, a new awakening, a space that's safe, that's the sharanam, the refuge. But first, everything has to be broken to get there. Bring your hands into your heart if they're not. Om.
We are one life, we are one light, and we are one love. And we bow with gratitude to the light that we share. Peace be with you, blessings upon you. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for sharing a practice together. I do this regularly, so tune in again.